Hey, it's Enigma HUD. I'm going to be doing a video about the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. This was a request from my good friend, Persephone 112993, and she just wanted me to talk a little bit about the oil spill and give my own opinions and viewpoints about it. Well, I think the oil spill just simply highlights the inevitable tragedies that occur due to our reliance on oil, and this is actually seen as an acceptable consequence that we must pay from time to time. I mean, it's gotten to the point of where we know for a fact that this kind of thing can never be avoided with 100% certainty. There's always the risk. We're always running the risk of this happening. And the consequences are tremendous. The economic consequences are tremendous. The environmental consequences are tremendous. The cost to life is tremendous. And this is not a consequence that we can simply accept anymore. We need to stop. We need to stop drilling for oil. But you might say, well, we got cars. We need gasoline. We need this. And I agree. Yeah, I mean, I drive a car myself. And so, I'm part of the problem. But I'm not the problem. The problem is the lack of funds available to alternative automobiles. Or I should say, what do you call them? Alternative fuel sources to automobiles. And I think the best alternative is pure electric cars. In the past, you may have heard a little bit about some other alternatives, namely the hydrogen car and ethanol and things like that. The hydrogen car is inferior in many ways. For one thing, it's less efficient when you are converting electricity into hydrogen and then back into kinetic energy. It's less efficient, because you have to create the hydrogen. There's that intermediary step in there. Whereas electricity, you get the electricity from a fuel source like coal or preferably nuclear energy. And then that goes to recharging the batteries, and that's turned into kinetic energy. It's more efficient, simply more efficient. Hydrogen fuel cells are best used in airplanes because the fuel is light. It's lighter than gasoline, it's lighter than, I should say jet fuel. It's lighter than jet fuel, and it's lighter than batteries. But it has really no use, no major advantages over electric cars. So for that reason, we shouldn't use hydrogen. But the thing is, the gasoline guys have been pushing hydrogen because they know it's not feasible. It's not a feasible alternative. Sorry. Ugh. This stupid hair. Sorry. The other alternative would be, I really want to do a more in-depth analysis on the alternatives to gasoline, which I can do later. But I want to just mention ethanol real quick. We get ethanol from food, really. I mean, corn is the primary source. And the major problem is it's just not, it's not as good as gasoline, and it pollutes just as much. So there's no advantage to it, and many other people are concerned with the fact that we are getting this from food that we eat, like corn, so it's taking away from food supplies that could be feeding human beings. And to them, that's more important than fueling your car. There's people starving in parts of the world, and we're just using all this food to just make ethanol. That's not right. That's what they say, anyway. And I agree, especially when batteries are much better. Batteries are more efficient, and potentially they have the potential to be better than gasoline, not just in the fact that they don't pollute, but they can be faster and have greater acceleration. They have the potential to do that, because there's no gear shifting in electric cars. Okay, I'll go into all of this later in a more in-depth video about the alternatives to gasoline-powered cars or internal combustion engines, ICE. But basically the point is if we switch to electric, then we can get our energy from nuclear power. Now, most people will say, well, we use coal as our primary source of energy. And that is true for now, but that can change. But it's not really up to us. What's up to us is how we decide what to purchase with our money. So if we choose to buy gasoline-powered cars, then that's what we're gonna be getting more of these oil spills, and that needs to stop. So we need to push legislation towards investing more money into battery electric vehicles. We need to push our politicians into investing money in nuclear energy. Now you might be saying nuclear energy is dangerous. Actually, the dangers are far exaggerated, and it pollutes far less than coal or oil. Namely, it does not produce any greenhouse gases, produces no CO2. What about nuclear waste? You know, nuclear waste, people who complain about nuclear waste don't know anything about nuclear waste. You have two types of nuclear waste. You have high-level nuclear waste, which can be recycled and reused, so we can ignore that completely. Then you have low-level nuclear waste. What is that? What is low-level nuclear waste? It is basically just contaminated things like mops, gloves, safety goggles, lab coats that have been contaminated. These things can be disposed of safely, and actually, when you dispose of them, they actually produce less. They release less radioactive byproducts into the environment than coal does. Well, how does coal release radioactive material? You got to think about what planet we're living on. We're living on Earth. There's background radiation on this planet, and the coal has been absorbing this background radiation. So when you burn it, it releases that radioactive material into the environment. It actually produces more radioactive byproducts than nuclear waste does. So people who complain about nuclear waste don't know anything about what they're talking about. And nuclear power is far more efficient and produces so much more power. So much more per unit of mass. And it's far safer because we already have lots and lots of uranium that have been stored up, mostly in the form of nuclear weapons that have been decommissioned. The isotope that we use is U-235. It's commonly known as enriched uranium. And we don't even need to drill for that. We don't need to mine for that because we already have so much of it from the decommissioned nuclear weapons. So there won't be any hazards involved with coal miners being killed or collapses, things like that. That'll be completely eliminated. We already have the materials necessary. And there won't be any more oil spills because we won't be using oil. We already have all the materials. So this is what I think. This is what we need to go for. Nuclear power and battery electric. I wish I could talk more about this, but I know I'm running out of time. I tend to ramble, and I didn't really organize all my thoughts. I just wanted to make this video because it's important. I'm kind of on a tight schedule though, but maybe I'll talk a little bit more about it in depth later on, in maybe a misconception video or something like that. Anyway, thank you once again to Persephone 112993, my good friend, because this is a very important topic. Alright, so long.